Hello students, welcome to the next class of Treasure Trove, a collection of short stories and poems. My dear students, hope you have a good day today. So today we'll be doing the poem The Cold Within by James Patrick Kinney. Before we begin, let me tell you about J.P. Kinney. Now, he was an American poet who was first rejected for being too controversial in this poem, but later the poem gained popularity. Now, the poem describes the tragic death of a group of 6 who stand around a fire, each holding on to a log of wood in a very gloomy and disappointed manner, allowing their selfishness, prejudice, malice, and suspicions to dictate their actions. They refused to share the log of wood to fuel the dying fire and keep each other warm. Eventually, the fire dies out, and in the morning, all 6 of them are found frozen to death, each clutching, even in death, a log that could have so easily saved their lives if only they had overcome the petty barriers of class, race, and religion that divided them. So, my dear children, just because of the discrimination on the basis of caste, religion, gender, and ethnicity, all 6 of them lost their lives. Now, the theme of the poem is that it deals with the futility of discrimination or hatred that humans have against one another. Moreover, it also deals with the lack of warmth in human relations. The 6 people in the poem can be seen as representatives of the whole human race. These people were overtaken by their feelings of revenge, spite, and anger to such an extent that eventually these prejudices led to their death. So now I'm going to explain the poem line-wise, and before I begin the explanation, let me give you the meanings of a few difficult words which are displayed on the screen. So the first word, children, you may note down, trapped. Now, trapped means something by which one is caught against his wish. Next, happenstance. Now, happenstance means something that happens by chance. Bleak. Bleak means unpleasant. And logs, of course, mean thick pieces of wood. Then there's another word, black, which means here black is referring to a race of people who have dark skin. Now, in United States, people from this race are referred to as African Americans. So they are called blacks. So now we begin. 6 humans trapped by happenstance in bleak and bitter cold. 6 humans are caught together by chance in biting and unpleasant cold. Each one possessed a stick of wood, or so the story is told. Means each one of them has a stick of wood. And this forms the setting of the poem, and against this background, the story is narrated. Their dying fire in need of logs, but the first man held his back. For off the faces round the fire, he noticed one was black. Now, here the poet says that their dying fire in need of logs means it was extremely cold and the fire was dying means the fire which was burning was about to die. And that was the fire that was keeping them warm. And it could be kept alive only if one of them put his log to use. But the first man held his back. But the first person in the group, and my dear children, please note it down, the first person in the group was a woman. And she saw that one of the people sitting there was a black. She therefore held her log back and did not put it in the dying fire. The next man, looking across the way, saw one not of his church. Another man who was sitting there looks across the way, and he found out that one of them does not belong to the same church as he was from. Means one of them did not belong to the same religious community as his. So children, here the poet has pointed out discrimination on the basis of religion. And in the previous stanza, it was a prejudice. The woman who did not share her log of wood was a woman who was prejudiced against the black. So, this fact that this man found one of the people there not belonging to his religious community, he did not share his log of wood, or he did not share his stick in the fire. Now, once again, please note down the difficult words that are there in the stanza first. Note down their meanings. Now, the word birch. Birch is actually a type of tree that has outer bark which can be pulled off easily. Another word here is tattered. Tattered means torn. Hitch. Hitch means to pull up or to fasten tightly. Fasten. Then there's another word here, and that is idle. Idle, rich. Now the people believe that the rich people make the workers toil and enjoy the fruits of their labor. So here the poet has referred to the rich as idle, because the rich remain idle, but the work is of toiling hard, and working hard is done by the workers or the laborers. So now we begin with the explanation. The third one, sat in tattered clothes, he gave his coat a hitch. Why should his log be put to use to warm the idle rich? Now the third one here is depicted as a poor man who was sitting in tatters and torn clothes. Now, to protect himself from the freezing cold, he gives his coat a hitch. He just pulls up his coat. Why should his log be put to use to warm the idle rich? And he wonders in his own mind that why should he put his log in the fire just because the idle rich were sitting there? As I've already explained, the rich are considered to be idle because the hard work is done by the poor. So the poor did not want to share his stick of wood because of the rich sitting there. Now, he gave his coat a hitch can have two meanings. It could be that he pulled up his coat since he was feeling cold, or it could be he just out of ego he did not want to share it with the idle rich. Next stanza, the rich man just sat back and thought of the wealth he had in store and how to keep what he had earned from the lazy, shiftless poor. Now the rich man, on the other hand, he thought of all the wealth he has in store and how he could keep it safe from the poor man. and the black man's face bespoke revenge. Here, children, underline the word bespoke. It means showed signs of. Showed signs of. S-I-G-N-S. And another word which is shiftless poor. Shiftless means lacking ambition and energy. So the rich considers the poor to be one who lack energy and ambition. And the black man's face bespoke revenge. And the black person's face depicted or showed signs of revenge, jealousy, as the fire passed from his sight. As he saw the dying fire in front of his eyes. Because the black man was full of revenge. And so the only thing visible to him in his stick was the chance to harm the white person. So spite here means a desire to harm another person, especially because you feel that you have been treated wrongly. The next stanza. The last man of this fallen group did not accept for gain. Not here underlined, children. It means nothing. And the last person of this lonely group did nothing but accept for something for his benefit, which would benefit him. So he was a selfish man. The last person was a selfish man. Selfishness overruled him. And he did not think of anything except for his own gain. Giving only to those who gave was how he played the game. And he believed in giving only to those who gave him something back in return. So he held back his stick of wood. Their logs held tight in death's still hands. Here, children, death is here referring to actually the human sin. Now they were holding their logs, their sticks, which they could have put in the dying fire. They held those sticks tightly as if they were holding in death's still hands. And their logs were doing nothing, but they were just inviting death. It is nothing but a proof of human sin, and this is nothing, just a proof of human sin. They did not die from the cold without, they died from the cold within. Now here human sin refers to the disobedience to God's commandment. God says, love thy neighbor as thyself. But all 6 humans, they did not consider this. And they refused to share their sticks for various reasons. So they did not die from the cold without, means the cold outside, the freezing cold which was there outside, but they died because of the cold within them. Now the cold within them means because of the feelings, the lack of human feelings, lack of warmth, lack of compassion. So the lack of warmth is expressed in the last line. So it refers, now the dying fire here refers to the fire which was dying out, which would have kept them alive. But because of their selfish reasons, they did not share their logs of wood. So this is all, children, for today. Thank you.